Let the word go forth.
Mel Brooks, 1,000 Laughs, 1,000 Lives, the eternal legacy of a comic genius. He didn't just make us laugh, he made us brave. He didn't just write jokes, he carved truth from absurdity. This is the legacy of Mel Brooks. Melvin Kaminsky was born into hardship and hope. His father gone before he turned 2. Laughter became his weapon and his armor. Brooklyn raised him tough. His brothers raised him louder. And comedy, well, comedy raised him right.
I was born in East New York, in Bronzeville. And when I was 2, my father died. And my mother moved to Williamsburg, which is another section of Brooklyn. People would lean over my crib, look down and smile, actually break into laughter. I must have been a funny-looking kid. So I knew that's what I had to do, how to make people laugh. That was the job. My mother was very short. It's pretty weird. I mean, she was really short. I mean, she could walk under a coffee table with a high hat on. I mean, this was a short lady. There was a place in Coney Island called Feldman's, and there was always a Charlie Chaplin, a Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd movie. And I was 5 or 6, and I said, this is good. This is good. I mean, Harold Lloyd hanging from that clock. That was the best time in my life,
Born Melvin Kaminsky in Brooklyn, June 28, 1926, he entered the world at a time of uncertainty and struggle. His father, Max Kaminsky, passed away when Mel was just 2 years old, leaving his mother, Kate, to raise 4 boys alone. In a home filled with grief, it was humor that became Mel's shield, and later his sword. Even as a child, Mel's comedic instincts bloomed early. He once joked that his family was so poor, instead of a childhood, he had a hood child. In the crowded apartments of Williamsburg, he discovered the magic of laughter, first as self-defense, then as self-expression. He was mentored by jazz legend Buddy Rich, and Mel learned the drums and performed at summer resorts before his teenage years. He was a boy who never quite fit the mold and refused to try. The world would later thank him for that.
I became Brooks based on Brookman. That's my mother's name. When I was very young and I was a drummer, I tried to get Brookman on the drums, and I got as far as Brook. There was only room for another letter, and the M wasn't going to work, so I put it, and I've been, ever since I was 14, it's been Brooks. Because I knew that Melvin Kaminsky would not be a stand-up comic in the Borscht Belt. All comics had an opening song, so I came up with my own, and mine was, "Here I am, I'm Melvin Brooks. I've come to stop the show. Just a ham whose mind is looks, but in your hearts I'll grow. Tell your gags, sing your song, happy little snappy tune that roll along. Out of my mind, won't you be kind and please love Melvin Brooks."
The Catskills were loud, brash, wild, and perfect for young Mel Brooks. As a tumbler, he learned to read a room, dance on a punchline, and stay 2 jokes ahead of the crowd. He shed his birth name not to hide, but to fly. Mel Brooks became not just a name, but an idea, an explosion of funny that the world hadn't quite seen before.
His new memoir, All About Me, My Remarkable Life in Show Business, tells all the stories behind classics like The Producers, Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein. We spoke at his home in Santa Monica, and it was a delight.
Marker?
Ow! Just to scare you.
You still got it.
It's good to be the king.
With his ageless humor and sharp comedic insights,
The Lord Jehovah has given unto you these 15.
this master storyteller has definitely still got it.
10 commandments.
In his new memoir, All About Me, My Remarkable Life in Show Business,
May the Schwartz be with you.
Mel Brooks takes readers on the journey of a lifetime.
It's packed with every adventure
in your life. I was most struck by some of the scenes, though, from the very beginning of your life. This image of your mom when you're a little boy heating your clothes on the radiator in the winter.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that, because that was so fabulous for me. In the winter, being 5 years old, getting out of a warm bed was impossible. So she figured out, she put my clothes on the radiator, she dressed me under the covers, and I popped out of bed, ready to go to kindergarten, warm, toasty warm.
Were you funny in kindergarten?
I was. I was a show-off ever since I can remember. I remember I once sang, "You must have been a beautiful baby." I was just a little kid, and I was singing it in class, and my teacher heard me. "Must have been a wonderful child when you were only starting to go to kindergarten. Oh, you must have been a beautiful baby, 'cause baby, look at you now." And I was taken all over the school to sing "You Must Have Been a Beautiful Baby."
You write in the book that you think it had something to do with the fact that you're short, the fact that you're so funny.
Being short meant that you could be picked on by other kids on the street. But if you had a couple of people who loved you because you made them laugh, and they were big and they were strong, you had your army, you know.
You started out as a drummer.
That's how I became Brooks. I started out as a drummer, and I decided to use my mother's maiden name. My mother's maiden name was Brookman. I said, that's a better name than Kaminsky, my father's name. Brookman. And I was going to put it on the bass drum, sorry. B-R-O-O-K. No more room. So I just threw an S in, and I was 14, and it was Mel Brooks, and I've been Mel Brooks ever since I painted.
By the time Mel Brooks reached his teen years, he'd already mastered something most people take decades to learn: how to command a room with laughter. He took on jobs as a tumbler, an entertainer hired to keep vacationers laughing in the Catskills. The famed wartime. Mel understood the rhythm of comedy the way a conductor understands his orchestra: fast, loud, absurd, and beautiful. It was here that he first performed professionally, fine-tuning the timing, physicality, and improvisation that would later become his signature.
Brooks began his career in television as a writer in 1950 on Sid Caesar's variety series, Your Show of Shows.
Guess you can't even get a glass of water in a place like this. Water!
Was he your big break?
He was my incredible golden door, my entry into show business at large.
You know, you say you became a writer when you were on Your Show of Shows, but we have this is a notebook here, Corporal Melvin Kaminsky.
You got my army.
Yeah, your army notebook, and you were writing back then.
I was writing back then, yeah. I wrote on the way over. We went over in February the beginning of 1945, on a troop ship. There was a ship's newspaper, and I wrote a column called My Floating Day, a takeoff on Eleanor Roosevelt, who had a column. Her column was called My Day, and she would talk about what was happening. I wrote about crap games and...
He also changed his name. Melvin Kaminsky became Mel Brooks, not to escape his heritage, but to avoid confusion with trumpet players. And from that moment on, Mel Brooks was no longer just a name, it was a brand. His voice was sharp, his delivery was manic, and his confidence was magnetic. The boy from Brooklyn was beginning to understand what laughter could do. It could free people, it could shake up rigid ideas, and it could, in some ways, change the world.
He took on various roles, including MC and social director at resorts in the Catskill Mountains, famously known as the Borscht Belt. This experience was vital in honing his comedic abilities and connecting with audiences. In 1949, Brooks joined the writing team for The Admiral Broadway Review, a weekly television show featuring Sid Caesar. This opportunity opened doors for him, and he continued to work with Caesar on the influential series, Your Show of Shows, from 1950 to 1954. During this time, he collaborated with other notable writers like Carl Reiner and Neil Simon, further shaping his comedic style. Brooks' partnership with Buck Henry led to the creation of the hit television show Get Smart, which aired from 1965 to 1970. This show was a clever parody of the James spawned genre and solidified Brooks' reputation as a comedic genius. His transition into film began with the animated short, The Critic, in 1963, which won an Academy Award. However, it was his first feature film, The Producers, released in 1968, that truly marked his arrival as a master of comedy. The Producers is a classic comedy that satirizes the Broadway theater scene, and its success paved the way for Brooks' future projects. From the perspective of classic comedy movie recommendations, Mel Brooks' early career was essential in shaping his path as a writer, comedian, and filmmaker. His work in television and his transition to film laid the groundwork for iconic movies like The Producers, which remains a beloved classic in the comedy genre. Mel Brooks' journey is a testament to how passion and hard work can lead to remarkable success in the entertainment industry.
Comedy met combat. In the European theater, Mel diffused violence by day and Nazi morale by night. A bullhorn became his weapon of choice, Al Jolson songs drowned enemy propaganda, and his courage went far deeper than punchlines. The war didn't break him, it taught him what jokes were worth, when nothing else makes sense.
Melvin Kaminsky, 122333183. That was my serial number. It means I'm an enlisted. But I enlisted to go to college, not to be, in foxholes and be shot at. But listen, that's what happens in a war. Being a kid of 17, 18, I was a peacenik. I was against war, but I knew what Hitler was doing to Jews, so I really did feel that this was a proper and just war, and a war that should be fought. My mother had 4 stars in her window. I think the limit was 3 of your children in the Army. That is, I think I could have gotten out of it, but I was gung-ho to be a soldier. My brother Lenny was an engineer gunner on a B-17, and in his 35th or 36th mission, his Flying Fortress B-17 was hit, and they all bailed out. And he landed in Austria. He knew he had an H, and he had heard rumors that the Germans were taking Jewish troops and sending them to concentration camps. So on the way down, while he was still in his parachute, he ripped it off.
Comedy may have been Mel's calling, but war came calling first. Drafted in 1944 during World War II, Mel served as a combat engineer in the 1104th Engineer Combat Battalion. His job was terrifying, clearing minefields and helping build bridges behind enemy lines during the Battle of the Bulge. In the midst of destruction, Mel found surprisingly moments of levity. To counter Nazi propaganda blaring from loudspeakers, he would perform Al Jolson songs through bullhorns. It was dangerous and surreal, and exactly the kind of bold irreverence he'd later become famous for. Mel once said, "I was the only soldier who could fight the war and put on a show at the same time."
I wonder if your time in the service, is that the root of your fascination with Adolf Hitler?
Maybe. I don't know. It was fearful. That's a good word. Carrying a rifle, wearing a helmet, and worried about shells bursting and whatever. But I felt World War II somehow, first of all, they attacked us, and we had no choice. But we were fighting for something good. We were fighting to preserve something wonderful, America.
The original title of The Producers, Springtime for Hitler.
That was the original title. Couldn't have a better title, except Joseph E. Levine said a lot of the exhibitors are Jewish, and they've called me and said they're simply not going to put Hitler on the marquee. You got to come up with another title.
How can a producer make more money with a flop than he could with a hit?
Well, it's simply a matter of creative accounting. Let's assume, just for the moment, that you are a dishonest man. Assume away.
After the war, he returned not just with medals, but with stories, empathy, and a deeper commitment to making people laugh in the face of darkness. Back in New York, Mel joined a crew of comedic giants: Carl Reiner, Neil Simon, Woody Allen. Together, they shaped modern comedy like clay in a furnace. After the war, Mel hit New York City like a whirlwind. He hustled, wrote sketches, performed in clubs. Eventually, he joined the legendary writing staff of Your Show of Shows, working alongside Carl Reiner, Neil Simon, and Woody Allen.
Well, to answer the question of how we got here, my friend, we have to start from the beginning. Let's talk about Mel Brooks. More specifically, his style, and what makes his work so unique. Going all the way back to his work with Sid Caesar and Carl Reiner in the 1950s, it was evident that Mel Brooks was one of the first in a new generation of comedians. Following the Second World War, comedy became more topical in its presentation. Comedians like Bob Hope mixed current affairs with the rhythms of vaudeville. Brooks took this rhythm and flipped it on its head through comedic syncopation. Instead of following the conventional ebbs and flows of comedy, Brooks thrived by hitting the offbeats, mixing intellect with insanity. Brooks possessed an uncanny ability of highlighting the ridiculousness of history in a way that could only be done by someone with a scholar's level of understanding for the subjects. This can especially be seen in Young Frankenstein. While it would have been incredibly easy to make a rushed, low-quality parody of Mary Shelley's novel, the movie is instead a fitting tribute to the legendary film franchise surrounding Frankenstein, and was written with a striking attention to detail. Both Brooks and Wilder knew that to make the comedy in the film work, they couldn't neglect the elements of horror that the story was based on.
This was a crucible of genius. Sketch comedy was evolving, and Mel helped shape it. His wit was loud, outrageous, and brilliant. It wasn't long before he and Carl Reiner created The 2,000-Year-Old Man, a bit where Mel played the world's oldest man, interviewed by Reiner. It was improvisational gold and soon became one of the most beloved comedy records of its time.
About 4 days ago, a plane landed at Idlewild Airport. The plane came from the Middle East, bearing a man who claims to be 2,000 years old. He spent the last 6 days at the Mayo Clinic. Sir, is it true that you are 2,000 years old?
Oh, boy. Oh, yes.
You are it's hard to believe, sir, because in the history of man, nobody's ever lived more than 167 years, as the man from Peru would claim to be. But you claim to be 2,000.
Yes, I'm not yet. I'll be 2000, October 16th. Yes.
You will be 2000. When were you born?
We didn't have formal years and names and writing. We didn't know.
I see. And what?
Nobody kept time then. See, we didn't know. We didn't write. We just sat around. We pointed in the sky and we said, "Whoa, hot boy," you know.
That's all you said?
We didn't even know it was the sun. We thought.
You mean you really didn't know anything?
We didn't know anything. We were so dumb and stupid.
Sir.
We didn't know who was a lady.
Mel's success in TV was not just in performance, it was in his vision. He co-created Get Smart, the hit spy comedy, and redefined satire for the screen. His rise wasn't quick, like a meteor. It was volcanic, like an explosion.
Would you like to have a roll in the hay? It's fun! Roll, roll, roll in the hay.
In the 1974 classic Young Frankenstein, legendary comedy writer and director Mel Brooks kept the gags coming. All these years later, he's still at it. He talks with our man in Hollywood, Ben Mankiewicz.
Can I want to clear something up? Mm-hmm. I don't get paid for this, do I? No, just curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm used to getting paid.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
For the record, Mel Brooks did not get paid, but he still delivered the comedy, just as he's been doing for nearly a full century, pretty much since day one.
I knew from a very early age, I knew that comedy was my business. Comedy was my thing. It was me, because people would look down at my crib. I was only a few months old, and they would laugh, and I said, that's it. That's it. That's what I want.
When did you know that you were funny, that you could make people laugh?
In school, I guess. You know, my neck still hurts from being taken by the neck to the principal's office because I was terrible. Every time I would do my impression of Boris Karloff, the monster, James Whale's fabulous monster, saying this word as a server at a dinner table. He'd say, antipasto. You know, I do the eyes too, I help it, you know. And just antipasto, and that was it. And it was so great, the rest of the class would laugh. They didn't know why they were laughing.
We've all been laughing ever since. As a writer and director, Mel has created some of the sharpest and most irreverent comedies of all time.
Throw out your hands, stick out your tush.
Blazing Saddles.
If you're blue and you
later the same year, Young Frankenstein.
why don't you go where fashion sits?
Plus History of the World Part 1.
The Lord Jehovah has given unto you these 15. Wait. 10 commandments.
And, of course, The Producers, which earned Mel an Oscar for Best Screenplay.
Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party.
The story of a Broadway musical about Adolf Hitler.
Will the dancing Hitlers please wait in the wings? We are only seeing singing Hitlers.
You know, Hitler's made me a very good living, you know. I'm one of the few Jews that has survived Hitler well, you know.
Only Mel Brooks could get away with having this bottle stopper in his home.
Someone sent it to me. I get a lot of Hitler paraphernalia, a lot of Hitler stuff.
Hollywood trembled and laughed as Mel unleashed his films. The producers turned fascism into farce. Blazing Saddles lit racism on fire with a punchline. Young Frankenstein revived horror with a heart and hilarity. Each film asked hard questions, but in Mel's language, laughter. Even in drama, Mel's fingerprints were everywhere. The Elephant Man, The Fly, serious films with a Brooksian soul.
While filming Blazing Saddles in the early 1970s, Mel Brooks came across some ideas Gene Wilder had written on a yellow legal pad. Brooks affectionately asked, "What the hell is that?" And in that moment began their legendary collaboration. Later that night, they started brainstorming on Wilder's ideas about Frankenstein, and eventually, in the same year that Blazing Saddles released, the world was introduced to the story of Dr. Frederick Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
Sorry. In the film Young Frankenstein, Frederick is ashamed of his family's legacy and tries to distance himself from it as much as possible. Though that distance becomes difficult when he's called to Transylvania to take care of the family estate. While he's there, he reconnects with his inner Frankenstein and sets out to reanimate the dead. From there, hijinks ensue. The musical adaptation follows pretty much the exact same premise, with some minor changes here and there. The film was a commercial success, and with this and Blazing Saddles being released in the same year, this Brooklyn-bred comedian was officially a box office giant and a force to be reckoned with. Brooks would continue to flex his artistic and comedic muscles in film. That is, until he went back to where his career began and brought The Producers to Broadway in 2001. The musical was met with critical praise, financial success, and swept the 55th Tony Awards. But we've already talked about all that before. The question here is, will lightning strike twice? Could Mel Brooks' signature style be reanimated on stage with his most recognizable story?
In 1967, Mel wrote and directed The Producers, a movie so outrageous it was nearly banned. A musical comedy about Hitler. Who else would dare? The film won him an Oscar for Best Screenplay and kickstarted a cinematic legacy like no other.
Where did that idea come from? A hit that's made out of a flop?
I worked for a guy, you know, there were many producers that kind of hedged their bets. If a play cost $10,000 to produce, he would raise $11,000. And their only problem was they had to be careful. If they raised too much, then they couldn't, if it was a hit, they couldn't pay all the backers.
The Producers was the first movie Brooks directed. It won him an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in 1969. Over 30 years later, he created The Producers Broadway musical, which won 12 Tony Awards. and still holds the record for most Tonys received by a single.
Then came Blazing Saddles, a Western that pulverized racism and Hollywood tropes with fearless parody.
You think Blazing Saddles would succeed today? Could it get made today?
I don't know. I don't think so, because I went too far with the use of the N-word, with cowboys sitting around the camp farting. But, I mean, the movie's outrageous. And a lot of people, you can't blame them for saying, never should be made, terrible. But that's what I do. I make the things that nobody else would make.
What does that tell you about the state of comedy today?
Well, for me, they're a little too strict about, what's in bad taste and what's in good taste. And I think MF, the MF word, it's purposeful. It has grit. It has truth and grit. And you can't shower people with truth and grit if you're going to be careful about stepping out of the lines. You got to step outside the lines. And I think that the political correctness is too, I'm sorry to say it, is too politically correct.
Followed by Young Frankenstein, a black and white love letter to horror cinema. Co-written with brilliant Gene Wilder.
Would you excuse me for 1 minute, dear?
Oh, of course, Doctor.
Igor? May I speak to you for a moment?
Of course.
Sit down, won't you?
Thank you.
No, up here.
Oh, thank you.
Now, that brain that you gave me, was it Hans Delbrooks?
No.
Good. Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in?
And you won't be angry?
I will not be angry.
Abby someone.
Abby someone. Abby who?
Abby Normal.
Abby Normal.
I'm almost sure that was the name.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long, 54-inch wide gorilla?
What?
Is that what you're telling me? Wait, get it up!
What? Three syllables, yes.
I wonder who that...
His hits kept coming. History of the World, Part 1, Spaceballs, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and Dracula. Dead and Loving It. Mel turned genre inside out, and audiences couldn't get enough.
There are constant references to moments from the Universal movies. Visually, it's clear how Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein echoed James Whale's 1931 Frankenstein, the most obvious being that this was a black and white movie released in 1974, and the more subtle being the fact that the production borrowed lab props from the Universal films. Brooks and Wilder's attention to detail went even further than that though. Several passages from the original novel are quoted throughout the film, and there's even a reference to the tale of Prometheus, which inspired the story of Frankenstein. Brooks and Wilder clearly loved the story, and because of that, they were able to be truthful towards its roots while still relentlessly mocking it.
And in referencing/mocking those major beats from the story, Brooks was able to add in his own memorable moments too.
What happened?
Put the candle back.
I am Frau Blucher.
These moments and the over-the-top characters are a large part of what made Young Frankenstein an instant classic, and in many ways, what inadvertently made the material fit for the stage.
Love, loss, and laughter. Anne Bancroft wasn't just his partner. She was his balance, his muse, his love story. Their laughter echoed through every room, every script, every day.
Born Melvin Kaminsky in Brooklyn in 1926, Mel is now 93 and as sharp as ever.
You're smarter than you look. But,
Thank you.
And keenly observant.
You could have been a star, but you wear glasses.
So where are we going here, Mel? Going downstairs?
You were going, I want to show you something down.
Comedy is Mel Brooks's life, but his love,
And that's Anne, miracle worker.
will always be her. Anne Bancroft. To the world, she was one of the great stage and screen actors of her generation, with astounding range.
W-A-T-E-R, water. It has a name.
From The Miracle Worker, which earned her an Oscar as Helen Keller's teacher, Annie Sullivan,
Sit down, Benjamin.
to The Graduate, playing Dustin Hoffman's married seductress, Mrs. Robinson.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
But to Mel, she was his soulmate.
She's always pushed me. She's always been an inspiration. She always thought I was talented. She believed in me right from the beginning as a songwriter as well as a screenplay writer or whatever I wanted to do. She said, you can do it.
On the surface, they presented as a Hollywood odd couple. But the truth is, there was so much in common. Both grew up the children of immigrants, a Jewish boy from Brooklyn, and an Italian girl from the Bronx.
She was Anne Marno for a while. She kept the Italian thing. She was Anna Marie Louise Italiano. Italiano's her real name, man. I think it was Darryl Zanuck gave her a list of people, and she said, I like Bancroft.
And Brooks really liked Bancroft, long before the day they met.
Let's go back to 1961. How'd you meet her?
1961, February 5th.
At a taping of a Perry Como TV special, Anne was rehearsing. Mel, 4 years removed from his long run as a comedy writer for Sid Caesar's TV shows, walked over with a friend to watch.
And she's wearing a white gown, and she has jet black, shiny hair, and the most beautiful eyes and the most beautiful figure. And it was just like, I said, Kismet? Luck? What? Anyway, I'm in love. I know I'm just struck by her. I'm struck and I'm in love. She finishes the song. It's a rehearsal, so you can talk. And I scream out, Anne Bancroft, I love you. She said, who are you? I said, I'm Mel Brooks. She said, I got your record. You know, I did a record with Carl Reiner, a 2,000-year-old man. Said, what are you doing? She said, I have to see somebody at the William Morris Agency. I said, Bernie said, I got to see him too. I went with her. I got a cab. I went, she liked my whistle. Yeah, it's a good whistle.
Then, completely smitten, Mel began to pursue her, rather relentlessly.
Every night, wherever she went, I would show up, you know, by the fourth or fifth time, I'd say, it's Kismet. We just seem to be going, you know, she said, you know, both, it's not Kismet.
She told her analysts, let's speed this process up. I've met the right man.
Yeah.
Like she knew too.
It was just nobody else. She had everything. She had looks, she had brains, she had purpose.
Mel and Anne married in 1964.
Yeah, there's Max.
Their son, Max, a successful writer himself, he wrote World War Z, grew up in this house.
What do you recall of what your parents were like together?
My answer to that is I need some sort of context. I need to compare it to something else. And it was only later when I got out into the world, I realized that most people are not as animated and most people are not as funny.
Even after her passing, Mel spoke of her like she was still laughing next to him, and maybe she was. Behind the jokes in the spotlight was a man of deep heart. Mel married actress Anne Bancroft in 1964. Their bond was unshakable, a marriage that defied Hollywood odds and endured until Anne's passing in 2005. He credited her as his muse, confidant, and greatest supporter. Their son, Max Brooks, became a best-selling author, proving that storytelling runs in the family. In interviews, Mel's face would light up when speaking of Anne. Love, genuine, lasting, and grounded, was the anchor beneath the laughter.
Right here you see To Be or Not to Be, New York Times. It must have been a good review or it wouldn't be here.
In 1983, they starred together in To Be or Not to Be, which opens with an idea Anne had to sing a duet in another language.
Jak się topić, to się topić, sweet Georgie Brown.
You know, she learned that song in Polish. Jak się topić, to się topić, Sweet Georgie Brown. She learned it. She taught it to me. She drilled it. She drilled me every day until I could actually do it in Polish with her.
Oh, I didn't even notice you got her in parentheses up there.
Yeah,
in the poster.
I still have her in parentheses. But she began to like it.
Anne was with him during Blazing Saddles, Mel's bold comedy about a black sheriff in a racist Western town.
She made some very good pictures with some very good directors. This one is Mezza Mezza.
Mel continues to write and perform.
But he's always thinking back to his wife.
Here she is, making some money doing actually a beer commercial. It was not a good beer.
They were inseparable for 41 years until Anne died of cancer in 2005. She was 73.
You know, I think my dad is at a time in his life when he's looking back on all he has achieved. And it's no small truth that much of his achievements are because of my mother. My father's the first one to tell you that she saved him.
Can you see it?
14 years after her death, Mel wants Anne's legacy celebrated, and he wants it seen.
I just thought, before I die, I'd like to see a couple of her movies put together in a box set. There's a lot of great stuff here. If you get it in advance, you can get it for $59. When it hits the streets in a couple of months, it's $80. You want to save a couple of bucks and see the greatest performance from the greatest actress ever? $59, Amazon.
A pitch for 8 Anne Bancroft movies from the funny man who knew her best.
She could be the leading lady or an aide-de-camp. She could help people quietly on their side, pushing them. She could just be on stage with the spotlight and star in something. She was a great gift. She was a gift from God.
Mel Brooks became one of only a handful of performers to achieve EGOT status, winning an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony.
I'm risking COVID for them. I love you guys. Thank you. See you in the next play on Broadway.
Yeah.
Okay. But not for the same price. Okay. We'll talk. This is very nice. Thank you so much. This is beautiful. I got to tell you, this means a lot to me. It really means a lot. I feel so bad about the Oscar I got for writing the original screenplay for the producers. I feel so bad. I miss it. I miss it so much. I never should have sold it. Hey, listen, times weren't great. But as comics often say and don't mean it seriously, seriously, I gotta blow my nose, seriously. No, nobody else does things that I do, right? They're all different. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they stink. This is medium. This is just medium. What does one say? I mean, when your peers appreciate your work and they salute you with this golden statue, it means a great deal. It really does, because I was the baby of 4 boys, and finally they got to see me and kiss me, and it meant a lot to be awarded a place in the family. And it's the same thing in show business. If your fellow writers, directors, actors, etc., like you and appreciate your work, it means a lot. It means a whole lot. And then, like I said, to salute you with this wonderful statue it's terrific. I won't sell this one, I swear to God.
It is my honor to bestow the Peabody Career Achievement Award to the one and only Mel Brooks.
I'd like to say I humbly, but I'm not humble. Humble don't work. I mean, you know, there's no such, humility is not a part of my vocabulary. I don't even know how to spell it. I think humility probably starts with a U. I have no idea. Anyway, as Bob Hope used to say, but seriously, folks, this is a great honor, and it has been won by a distinguished group of esteemed, well worth winning this award, and I feel a little, I don't know, you really want me to be part of this? These are people that go to good restaurants. I mean, you know. Anyway, but seriously, I thank you for this prestigious and fabulous award, and I promise the George Foster Peabody people, I will not sell this one, I promise. I'm telling you.
He was honored with the Kennedy Center Award, National Medal of Arts, and AFI Life Achievement. His work is preserved by the Library of Congress and cited in academic journals, not just as entertainment, but as a cultural critique.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough praise, thank you. You know, how much praise? Jimmy Kimmel, I'm not gonna die. You know, I'm not gonna die. Just for that, I'm gonna be on Conan, you know? So here are my notes. Thank AFI friends, family, and colleagues for coming. Try to be sincere. Okay. This says, I grew up in a tenement at 365 South 3rd Street. Everyone there was either working or destined to end up working in the garment center. But I took a road less traveled, movies, and they saved me. Movies saved my life, they rescued my soul. No matter what was bad or wrong, it could be wiped out on Saturday morning. There is no other, and this, I'll be a little bullshit sentimental. There is no other organization in existence that actually really can compare with the work that AFI is doing for the art of film. They are the cinema police. They really are the cinema police. They protect and serve the past and the future of movies. Listen, it is incumbent upon last year's honoree, which will be me next year, to come back and toast the AFI's new Life Achievement Award recipient. That would be next year. I don't want to have to do this again. I don't have to wear this tux and this phony tie. And so, with your permission, I'd like to preemptively toast next year's honoree so I don't have to come back, okay? Listen, he or she is a remarkable creative force who has had a huge impact on my life and career. I've known him or her for over 20 years and can honestly say that he or she is the only person that I've never been jealous of, because when somebody is truly talented, you just have to salute it. So here's to you for a well-deserved award, and to the AFI, you finally got it right.
His films changed comedy, challenged censorship, and made satire a tool for truth. Mel Brooks is not just a name in the credits. He's a pillar of American humor, permanently etched in our collective memory.
The history of musical theater is vast, but when discussing which writers had a profound impact on the musical comedy genre, more often than not, the names are going to be the same. Stephen Schwartz, Stephen Sondheim, and Bono. Now, while their shows were fine, there was really only one writer and show that dared to stand in front of its audience and ask, legacy, legacy, what is a legacy? No, not that one.
When it premiered in 2007, the new Mel Brooks musical Young Frankenstein appeared to just be a ploy to cash in on the unprecedented success of the musical adaptation of The Producers, which it was, but this transition to the stage worked better than it had any right to.
Instead of just being a quick cash grab on the Great White Way, the new Mel Brooks musical Young Frankenstein became a chance to examine the impact of a 70-year comedic legacy. So what does the new Mel Brooks musical Young Frankenstein say about Mel Brooks' style of comedy, and why it was a perfect fit for Broadway?
And does his approach towards retelling the story enhance or detract from the Frankenstein legacy?
An EGOT, a legend, a rebel. Mel's work wasn't just preserved, it's studied, quoted, and revered. He fought censors, dodged critics, and made truth dance in a clown's shoes. His legacy? Etched into America's comedic DNA.
When adapting films for the theater, certain elements need to be amplified, and more often than not, artists who usually work in a film medium are afraid to take things too far or make them too big. But not being able to take things too far has never been a problem for Mel Brooks. Brooks' style is so energetic and larger than life that more than anything, his stories can often feel trapped behind the silver screen. So with Young Frankenstein, once that screen was removed, the true scale of Brooks' ambitions and personality were able to become realized. The immaculate sets of the film transferred with ease, in a set design that would make the Haunted Mansion jealous. And with the set in place and the freedom of a stage, the colossal melodramatic energy of Young Frankenstein's characters was unleashed. Still, that doesn't mean that they became cheap caricatures. There's a careful balance that Brooks mastered where the characters' actions may be farcical, but their motivations are deeply rooted in reality. Much like Brooks himself, the characters never come off as disingenuous or out of place. They're believable because, in essence, they're the products of the absurd and comical world they inhabit.
Mel Brooks once said, "If you can laugh, you can get by." And maybe that's his greatest lesson.
There was one night, it got to be 5:30 or 6, and I said, I want you to do the wacky scene where you really go crazy. And he said, I'm really tired. Can't we do it tomorrow morning? And I said, no, I need it. I really need it tonight. So he said, but I'm exhausted. I said, well, what would give you some spirit? He said, well, chocolate. I said, okay. Should I get you, I'll get you a couple of bars of chocolate with some almonds. He said, no almonds. I said, no nuts, just the chocolate. Okay. So I got him some chocolate, and I'd say, eat slow. I said, okay. And drink some water, eat slow. Finally, I said, have some black coffee. He said, I don't drink coffee. I said, drink it tonight. He said, I don't drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I said, drink it tonight. Do it. Drink the coffee. And he said, okay, and he drank the coffee. Now I think I went too far because he was nuts. He had a nervous breakdown in the corner, and it's a great scene where Gene goes bananas. And I shot it twice, but the first take was it. It was just brilliant, and it's still one of the best, funniest scenes I've ever done in my life. Listen. Alberto Sordi was Fellini's leading man for two of his greatest pictures. Cieco Bianco, The White Sheik. It's a great movie that Fellini made, I think. And could have been his first movie, I Vitelloni. And Sordi was just impossibly sweet, simple, clear, talented. And I had that with Gene Wilder. Everything Gene did for me as a film artist was angelic and supreme.
He dared to laugh when others whispered. He mocked villains, empowered outsiders, and gave joy to millions. His work teaches us that humor is power, that absurdity is truth's best disguise.
Before this night is over, one of you shall betray me 3 times.
No. Master, how can you feel that anyone here would betray you? You who we would follow even unto our death.
Yes. Does everybody want soup?
Please, we must talk. This may be our last supper.
Hey, it's my first order. Oh, look, one little question, I'll let you all go. Are you all together, or is it separate checks?
Please, go away, go away.
All right, okay.
Yea, yea, so you say. But one who sits amongst us has already betrayed me this night.
Who?
Who can it be?
Judas! Do you want a beverage? Try the mulled wine. It's terrific.
No! Leave us alone!
Go.
All right. Jesus.
Yes.
What?
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 Yes.
Jesus.
What?
Yes.
What?
You said what?
What?
Nothing.
Ah, Leonardo.
Buongiorno.
Just a second.
It's all right. We ordered a group portrait.
Yeah, Fernanda, this is no good. All I got is a box. Okay. Everybody want to be in the picture? Get up and go to the other side of the table. Come on.
That love, loss, war, and trauma are all survivable, if you can still crack a joke. Mel Brooks isn't gone. His laughter lives in the films we watch, the lines we quote, the theater shows we attend, and the dreams he ignited.
Man, we're gaining on them!
They're gaining on us!
Come on, Miracle.
Go, boy, go! Stretch out those long white legs! We're pulling away! We're losing them!
Quickly! Go to the left! Go to the right! Stop!
I smell something familiar! Yes! Yes! I got an idea! Pull over! Pull over! What is it?
I smell something.
Are you crazy?
I don't know what I'm talking about. The nose.
What the heck is he? What's he doing?
He's picking flowers.
Roman red.
Roman red?
A whole field of wacky weeders.
He's picking those weeds.
Papyrus. Rolling papyrus. Paper!
Paper? What kind of paper like this?
That's good. Oh, if I had easy widers. These people don't know the value.
Josephus, hurry!
Oh, listen. Yes, indeed.
They'll be here any minute.
Not to worry. Not to worry. We are now armed with mighty joint.
Mighty joint.
Pull out.
Okay.
Let's go, Miracle! Hurry, we've got to catch them! Quickly after them! Oh, Mama! We've got to get moving.
It's working!
We gotta stay loose, you know? Let it cool. Let the coolness get into our vertebrae.
This isn't goodbye, it's gratitude. I bow, not just for what Mel did, but for what he dared. To laugh, to challenge, and to share.
How did you start in the film business?
I mostly like this one. Yes, who is it? Mel Brooks. Yes?
Well, I got free coffees. I got free coffees here for someone inside. Can I come in? Then I came in and said, I got no coffee. It's Mel Brooks. I'm in show business. And they let me in. And I.
So you're an Oscar winner. We were just discussing the Oscars. I don't know if you were paying attention.
Yes, I am an Oscar winner. Mm-hmm. I'd like to thank.
Are you going to use yours for a doorstop?
Still thinking. Right?
My Oscar.
Where is your Oscar?
My Oscar is living in Detroit. Well.
in this film, High Anxiety, you sing, and I cannot judge whether that's good or not. But you write your own songs, you sing your own songs, you act your own films, you direct them, you write them.
Well, if you hire other people, you have to pay them money. Saves a few dollars when you do everything yourself. You know what I mean?
He taught us that absurdity can be grace, that laughter is rebellion, and that humor is sacred. Mel Brooks didn't just live a life. He gave us the courage to laugh at our own.
They're the greatest people in the world. They have heart, they have soul, they have time, they have a joy, a joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre.
Yes. The French have a joie de vivre.
That's true.
Jews have a
What do you say to people who accuse you of bad taste?
I say, up yours.
Your latest film, Young Frankenstein.
I just wait a minute. Stop for Caldwell, for Christ's sake. Stop for a minute. I want to see what I look like.
Okay.
Holy moly!
We may return to your latest film,
like
Young
this.
Frankenstein.
Yes. Now I look good to you.
Before I introduce the first film clip, you can see me now. Before I introduce the first film.
The 2,000-year-old man was born here, an old man, eternal wisdom, and eternal nonsense. It was brilliant, and it marked Mel Brooks as one of comedy's architects.
Your son, the tall one. Believe it or not, I have brothers and a mother. Everybody in my family is about 4'3", 4'4". I am called Stretch at home.
An older appearance, to look like a person, you know? He's a silly kid. He's just really a silly kid. I really love you. I really love you.
Well, you know, you keep saying...
I really love you.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Really, this...
And I don't fall in love with guys, you know what I mean? I'm pretty tough myself. But every once in a while, a beauty comes along
So this tribute is not goodbye. It's a thank you. Thank you, Mel Brooks, for the thousands of laughs. I hope you enjoy looking and living and walking through the story of Mel Brooks. Have a good day, guys.
I'm not a professional singer. I'm not even a professional actor. I'm not a professional director. I am a professional tailor. Stand up. I'll show you. Take in here. He is nice. He is good to climb.
Very good.
Here we can make here, under the arms. I am, sit down.
Beautiful, thank you.
All right, Charlie, don't get scared when I jump in
The shark. Tonight we talk on the shark. The shark, contrary to popular belief, will never harm you. The shark is a benign creature of the deep. Of course, if you do thresh about in the water, you will attract the shark's attention. And he might get nervous. Also, if you're bleeding in the water, if you cut yourself or you wear shiny objects, you do make the shark nervous. Sometimes the shark will kill you for fun.
Chapeau.
Okay. It's not the best one, but...
Will it do?
Sure.
Can you make do with that? I don't know why the 2,000-year-old man wears a cape.
It's the worst cape. They
How
got
many-
me the worst.
Wonderful.
All right, I'm getting in character, I'm feeling it, I'm Jewish. All right.
I've heard that you're married to the most beautiful woman in the world. Is that true, Mr. Brooks?
No, I'm married to Anne Bancroft. Ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful wife,
My gorgeous wife, Anne Bancroft.